Hello, everyone. So I'm starting to record because we had to go Facebook Live. Technology would not allow me to connect over to YouTube. I tried it both in my Chrome browser as well as my Safari browser, and that switch worked last time, but not today. Nonetheless, we're agile. We move, we flow on to the next. And Facebook Live works. So clearly, we were meant to be here with you guys this morning. Sabine, welcome to Journey of Self Mastery. And thank you for your third week appearance. Appreciate you so much.
You are so very welcome. I am happy to be here, and it became a new routine, it seems like. So I am feeling really good. I have my morning coffee. So,
Beautiful.
what can be better than hanging out with you this hour?
I think there might be a little something better, which is a little fun. Get that blood flowing this morning.
Yes.
Woo! All right.
I
Beautiful
love it.
morning warm up. That blood should be flowing. For all you ladies out there who woke up without your crown, you officially now have been crowned. Welcome to Friday. Welcome to Self Mastery Friday, everyone, gentlemen, ladies, children, and all who are on Facebook, YouTube, who have joined us this morning. We wanted to speak to the upside of the lockdown. If you are anything like us, you kind of had it. So over it, like ready to move on, ready to do something different. But the question is, while you've been in this space, and for as long as this space may continue to reside, what can you gain from it? What can you pull out of this space so that when you step out of 2020, because we only have a couple of more months to go, yay?
Yay. I second that.
Right? So when you look at that space and the fact that we only have a couple of months to go, do you want 2020 to be the year that you want to completely forget, erase, and have dismissed from your memory? Or do you want to take the next couple of months and make it the year that changed everything? That really brought you to a place of empowerment. It brought you to a place of clarity. It brought you to a place of leadership from within yourself and a place in which you move out in power of who you are. 2020 has the power to do that. Lockdown has the power to do that. And I'll let Sabine go ahead and start to give you some insight as to how.
Yes, thank you, Patricia. And you're so right. We have choices in our lives, and we can either choose to be a victim or we can choose to be a winner. And with that said, I don't want to disregard anybody who went through perhaps challenges with their health or saw somebody in their family being affected by COVID-19. This is real. And I'm not talking about that. There's nothing we can, let me rephrase that. Sometimes there's nothing we can do about it because of the conditions that we are. But we don't want to look back we want to take a look into the future, starting with today. Because we don't have power in the past, and we really don't have power in the future if we just think about what tomorrow or next year can bring, but doing nothing about it today. So, with that said, what do I mean about being the victim or being a winner or being the one in charge of your life? And so, with that said, what do I mean about being the victim or being, here we go, we have a little echo here.
Yeah, I removed it.
Good. So with that said, when I say take responsibility, if you want to get away from the victim mode, like many of us are in there, and sometimes I've found myself in that situation, but luckily throughout my years of personal growth, self-love, I am able to snap out of it very, very quickly. So let's go where we are right now with 2020 and everything that is associated with that. And you probably know what I'm talking about. So what can we do? It is really, number one, to take full responsibility for your life. Excuses be gone. And why am I saying that? Because if we are blaming someone else or another situation about our situation today, we are taking the power away from us, and we have to wait for someone else to fix it. So, for example, it starts out how you treat yourself, your body, what you do to really get a strong immune system, for example, in this year that we're living. Starting thinking about, well, do I have an underlying condition? Do I have something that I could improve? And not to say there are certain things out there that hereditary or whatever it is, what you have right now, but you still can improve it by what you put into your body, the right food, clean eating, drinking plenty of water, and let go of all toxicity that you can do. So that's number one. That's how we can control of our lives and our bodies. And let me share a story with you, because I truly believe that you can, even if you have underlying conditions. So a family member, had underlying conditions, diabetes and overweight, obesity. And when we started changing and shifting the food that she consumed, the exercise that she did, we were able to cut down her medication. We were able to really get her in a healthier state. So now she barely needs her walker anymore. That is the power that you can do. Does she still has her underlying condition? Yes, but she is feeling much, much better, and her body is stronger to combat that. That's what I mean by that. Okay? And the second is what we can do with our situation. All right? You may be laid off. You may have a business that all of a sudden was very strongly affected by that. And I do. I have a business, a performing arts school. And what do we do there? Well, we teach classes in person, dance classes, acting classes, music classes, and lessons. But we were affected by it when we had the lockdown. We couldn't teach. We were not allowed to. Now, here's the thing. I could have either said, oh my God, everything is now lost. Or I could take responsibility and say, what can I do? What is the shift that I need to do? How can I get out of this even better?
Mm.
Right? And so the first thing that I did is put everything online. Did we lose business? Of course we did. Half of it to begin with. But hear me out. Now everything is building back up and we actually are able to offer both. So for those who are not in our area, still could take classes,
Loss.
right? And then the other thing is, I am also a coach and I have worked and a speaker. I have worked with people in my area, or if I was a guest speaker on someone else's stage, I worked with the audience that I had in front of me. Sometimes were smaller groups or large groups of hundreds of thousands. But it was still very limited. So my takeaway from this lockdown, the upside for me personally, for my business, was amazing, tremendous, life-changing. Because now I was able to really focus on being online, doing something like what we do right now. And I was able to reach more people. And now I even have a program that I can help other people to use their gifts and talents. Because as you, if you have watched the interview series, or the first episode in the series that Patricia put on and she interviewed me, you know, I'm all about sharing my talent, following my passion, doing what I love, and serving others in the process, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so can you. Now, and it's still time to do this. It's not, oh my God, I missed it. You did not. Now is the time to prepare for 2021, to be ready, to really use the lockdown that we had. And perhaps you may still have, because you choose to not to go out yet, or you still have no work. Now is the time to take responsibility 100% and take action.
I actually really love what you are highlighting because I think a lot of people are kind of sitting pretty much in fear mongering, where it's all of this talk of what can't be done right now. And all of this talk of where you what you can't see, what you can't do, where you can't go, can't. If can't was a
Dirty
thing,
four-letter word.
if it was a thing, it would actually be like the Never Ending Story movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw it, like the child movie Never Ending Story. The nothing is coming. You know that giant cloud that comes in and eats away the story, like takes away everything about the story, and then it's left to like this blankness. Like if any of you have never seen Never Ending Story, watch it. Yes, it's a little corny because it's like, I think it's 80s, 90s stuff, but it's such a good storyline. But anyways, the nothing is the whole thing that comes in and eats away everything. Well, can't, this four-letter word, is like the nothing. It comes in and takes over your mind and eats away, all of your creativity, your desires, your passions, your purpose, all of the things that you know are within you, but you let sit dormant more and more and more and more and more under the cloak of can't. And that's what I really want to like super highlight to people this morning. And I want to highlight it coming from the space of self mastery and looking at it from the space of self love. I myself had to take this journey. These past few months has been eye opening. And that for me has been the major upside of the lockdown. In taking the time to actually just begin to journey through myself, the journey within me, seeing the elements of me that were pretty much trapped in the day to day hustle and bustle, where it was just, all right, I'm a driven person. I am naturally a driven person. It's kind of like you put something in front of me and I'm going, All right. How do I, go ahead and get this thing completed and done? Especially if it's like a puzzle piece, it's like, all right, let's get it done. I'm that person that if there's one piece missing, I will go ahead and like sit there for hours. Like, I don't understand. Why doesn't this fit? Calling the manufacturer, like, what is this? Right? So it's that whole thing of where are all these pieces and how does this all work? All of that drive and all of that passion, well, it all comes from a space in which I had to take a look at. I didn't realize that for most of my life, a good portion of my life, probably right after I had my first heartbreak. When after I had my first heartbreak, I realized that I dove into the space of my mind and everything about my mind space. Growing in that space was extremely important to me. Intelligence, growth, knowledge, super important. So I dove into that space and dove into my self development and dove into intelligence and gaining wisdom and gaining knowledge. So much so that everything about that space and how I led myself was very much about meeting my challenges, overcoming, triumphing, making sure I'm able to accomplish things and get into that space and get it done. But my heart and that space was really set aside. And what I realized, especially in this past, probably really it all came to light in this past week or so, is that the heart space was actually cloaked in perfection. Cloaked in perfection. So everything about living in my mind space was totally about, yeah, being vulnerable, living, in an imperfection way. Those are all things that I want to be in because it's the only way that I'm going to learn. It's the only way that I'm going to grow because let's admit it, perfection is not a growing space. Perfection means that there is nothing left to grow into or from. It is the landing page, right? It's like there's nowhere to go from here. So imperfection is the space of growth. It's the space of beauty and creation and playfulness and wonder and depth and width and just all these beautiful spaces. So when I looked at my mind space, it was 100% there. Curiosity was there, playfulness was there, everything about that space and growing in imperfection was totally there. I don't know it, I want to know it. But when it came to my heart, the space that was cloaked in perfection, it was let's protect. Let's not be vulnerable. Let's make sure this is okay. Let's make sure this is all right. The beautiful side of lockdown has been that walking through that silence with myself has brought me to that awakening in which I thought everything about my heart space is that I'm connecting, I'm functioning, I'm fine, everything here is good. I'm clearly moving forward because I'm still growing, I'm still developing, I'm still gaining knowledge and wisdom. I still understand that vulnerability is the key, right? Headspace. Totally got it. But the heart was like, that vulnerability is for the mind, it's not for me, right? Like we're not there. So in this lockdown, what I have come to learn is that the two may speak a different language, but they are valuable languages to be spoken. That the mind may understand in this space of, okay, vulnerability and everything about that. I understand how it works. I understand why it's important. I get why it flows. That the heart, in speaking of vulnerability and accepting vulnerability, they have a different language. And that for it to say it's okay and accepting, they use the same word, but they use it differently. So here's what I mean by that. My mind takes the word confusion and defines confusion as a negative thing. It takes confusion and it goes, confusion is, it means that I don't understand and that I'm lazy about knowing. That's confusion. This is where my mind is. When I visit that same word from my heart goes, confusion. It chuckles at confusion because of the fact that confusion is a space of growth. It means that I am just starting to come into knowing. Isn't that amazing? Completely opposite definitions, completely opposite responses to the same word. But these two spaces reside within me as a human. And instead of battling them and thinking that the two have to meet and speak the same and connect the same and define the same and have the same, no, it's about acceptance from within. And that's what I was beautifully awakened to. That I had to come to the acceptance of, yes, you see this differently. Yes, you see this differently. But the difference is why you work. Like, the difference is why you two make sense.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely. Absolutely. And I love it what you said, that we sometimes look at life, it has to be perfect. And that brings us and leaves us in misery.
yes.
Absolutely. I like your analysis of having your mind and your heart looking at one definition differently. And it's so true because uh, it is the meaning that we give to a word or to a situation that makes the difference on how we feel. And we have both. It's the yin and the yang, the the female side and the male side within us. And we all have it, no matter if you're male or female. We all have the two sides, the
Mm-hmm.
head and the heart. And when we marry those, accepting that both are good, right?
Yes.
That this is life. We have polarity in life.
Yes.
There is black, there is white, there is cold, there is heat, there is good, there is bad. But we need all of them. We need all of them
Yes.
to grow. And so I really like your analysis that you had, and that you found yourself in this lockdown to accept that.
Yes, and I think that's been part of the beauty of this space is coming to an awakening in different elements of who I am and in different spaces of the person that I'm becoming through this. Not leaving that to someone else to take in order for me or to define for me or to claim for me, but to really allow my becoming to be the story that comes out of 2020. And what the beautiful stages of really just coming through the process of the becoming, what I'm really enjoying about that is that it's actually pulling from all these spaces of learning for me. Like spaces that I have really like dived into in my past, but it's funny how when you're in the space, you can get a download of information. It's a ton of information, right? Between what you're experiencing, what you are experiencing visually, auditorially, kinesthetically, right?
Mhm.
Like all of those things are happening, and you may not be receiving it all at once. So it starts to reverberate through time. And that's what was coming for me in these past few months. It's like the year of backpacking, the time in which I spent thousands of dollars on my personal development, meeting gurus, spending moments of just pure silent meditation. Like all of those investments reverberating in this time of lockdown and really being able to pull out of those things. These are quick hitters. Here are some quick, easy things that now I was able to take quickly, design, and use to help me like move through the process in a beautiful way.
So I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I'm all about uh, giving people the hope and also the picture of possibility, what they
Mm,
can do now.
yes.
Each one of you who are in this, who is in the situation right now, you had your own life happen to you, right? And, or I should say, for you actually. so that you could learn from it. And what Patricia just shared, that was her story. So my invitation to you is to think about my story, not my story, but your story, right?
Your
So
story.
if you talk to yourself, well, what is my life? What has it been? What did I enjoy in the past? What kind of experiences did I went through that I learned from? And kind of reflect upon that. But here's another thing that I would like to invite you to do is just to reflect on what are your habits? Because habits really define our life. And we all have habits. The question is, do you have a habit that serve you or that hinder you to move forward? Because that is another very important part.
Mm-hmm.
In my book, Unlock Your Full Potential, I go through the steps actually to really help you to make a switch. When you hear somebody, just get a new habit, or just forget this, just leave it. And it's not, because if you just let go of a habit, you have to fill it with something else.
Yes, so important.
The positive one. Yes, yes. So that's right now in where you are. And let's talk about some challenges here, Patricia, because last week we talked about, we wanted to give some challenges. We want to do a challenge. And many of you perhaps know that there are a lot of challenges out there in a Facebook group and so forth. And we were actually visiting that thought for a little bit, but then we decided not to do it because I also know a lot of people, it can be overwhelming. Let me put it this way. So for those
And the
of
word
you,
itself.
yeah,
And the word itself, right? Like we were visiting that as well in really looking at this whole lockdown and the word itself, challenge, and what that means and the space that that comes from and what drives that, right? Where it's like we're all being challenged. Like we are all in the space of transition. And so in the conversation Sabine and I were having, it's challenge doesn't feel like the right fit, doesn't feel like the right word because we're not looking to add to the resistance or the pain of this space. It's to provide release.
exactly. Yes, sure. And this is exactly why we decided we wanted to find another word for it, but we want to help you grow at the same time. And sometimes the word challenge is connected with growth because you're challenging to step out of your comfort zone and take the next step. But rather than calling it a challenge, we are calling it an opportunity. So opportunity, possibility, and really taking the positive side of the lockdown to see the upside. So the question is, what do you see as the upside? Because for each one of us, it is different. Or perhaps if you don't see any upside yet, you may want to ask yourself the question, well, if there would be an upside, how could it look for me? How could it look like? And just ask these kind of questions, which are questions of possibilities. Because life is about possibilities. And so this is the first step. And that's the first invitation for you to take a look at your life, sit back, take a moment, turn off the TV,
Please.
take an hour, take an hour of your time and shut everything out, including this year, right? Shut it down, turn it off. And then what I like to do is this. I like to take a notebook, a blank piece of paper, and a pen. The reason why I'm not taking an electronic device is, first of all, I don't want to be distracted. And then it has something to do with writing it down. And I think you spoke about that before too, Patricia, is writing something down physically. And what I do is I find the space. Sometimes I go out in nature. That's how I connect with my higher self, with the universe, just being in nature. If I can't, I sit in a nice quiet place, have my tea or my coffee, and have some music in the background, and then just allowing, listen to that, allowing yourself that time of self-love, self-reflection. And then you have your piece of paper. Maybe you meditate if you're used to it. If not, it's fine. You might want to close your eyes just for a few minutes and just ask yourself the questions. What is the next step? What is mine to do? It can be a simple question. And then what I invite you to do is this. Take your pen and your paper, and without judgment, that's important, without judgment,
Very.
write everything down that comes in your mind. Don't think about it. Don't put thoughts. Just write it down, write it down, write it down. Take it. You can set your timer if you want, or just do it by feeling. Just 2 minutes. It doesn't have to be long, even a minute. But if you write down in 1 minute everything that comes to mind, you ask this question, boom, and then you write. Don't think, don't judge, don't think about, even if it seems ridiculous. I want to do a world tour, whatever it may be, write it down. So this is the first step. Then you will be amazed once you read everything. It's like, whoa, I never thought about that. That is step number 1. And then you will find, once you read everything that you wrote down, that there is 1 or 2 things that really excites you, or that really touches your heart, that really calls your name to either pursue it, or to learn more about it, or to just explore more opportunities about it. So that is
May
my
I add to that? Because
absolutely.
I think there's physically what I want to speak to those who are kinesthetic in how they learn and how they move or progress. That you can either step into the mind space when it comes to meditation. Sometimes it's the touch that really helps you to gain clarity. And what I can offer to you is that if you take your hand and you just place it upon your heart,
Mm.
that when you take your deep breaths before you write, you just take your deep breaths and sit in this space with 2 to 3 deep breaths and then write, I promise you'll gain clarity.
You are
Promise.
so absolutely right. And that reminded me on um, a former minister in our church. When he did meditation, he always, always did it from the heart, to really, and we touched our hearts and kind of really breathing through the heart.
Mm-hmm.
And at the beginning, I thought, well, it's a muscle. But there are actually scientific studies that this is more than a muscle. That, and you can look it up. And I don't know all the details about it, but I was just remembering that conversation that he shared with us, that there's actually a study about the heart and how it's connected with our feelings.
For sure, because we're all energy, and we can't forget that
No.
we are made up of energy. And different parts of us feeds out different elements of energy and in different ways. So it's kind of like the same way that you can sense positive and negative. You can feel anger versus sadness. Like no one has to speak. You don't even have to be able to have vision for you to be able to sense the emotion that's in that space. That is due to energy. So I absolutely can see how the heart in and of itself is displaying its own energy.
Yes, absolutely. So, well, that is one invitation, one step. That's the first step that I would recommend, that I work with my clients to do, uh, to really get clarity. And I do have a couple clarity tools that I use with my clients, to help them to get a little bit deeper into it. But to start out, this technique is sufficient, and this is a very, very good starting point.
Beautiful. And I think that's actually a wonderful space to begin that journey. And especially when it comes to really just trying to clear out the noise. Because the noise is the first thing of distraction, right? And it tends to be the last thing that we work on. We almost try to add to the noise by distracting ourselves with a bunch of other things. Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
think about this. I don't want to think about this. I don't want this. I don't want to see it. I don't want to know it. Oh, let me go and do a sport. Oh, let me go and play this game. Let me, like, it's everything else. And it's like all you're doing is taking that thing and shelving it from one side of your mind to another side of your mind. It's like watching a little robot, go to this side and go, oh, today's the time to move it over to this side. Oh, today's the time to move it over to that side. And that's all that's happening there. So it's not until you actually take a moment to purge. I actually did a video on this the other day on my Instagram where I was speaking about how I came to the knowing that I realized when I'm not fully writing, because it's this suboptimal writing that I was doing in the morning in journaling, where I would sit there and I would start to write, and in writing I would go off in a thought and I would pause. And as I'm pausing, I'm thinking through this entire storyline in my head of what happened, blah, blah, blah. And then it's, oh, yeah, I was writing. What was I talking about? And then it was back to what I was talking about. Instead, it's so much better to actually just go, okay, so I'm talking about, the fact that I didn't journal yesterday. I've got laundry to do. I've got laundry to do. It's so much better to actually just do that, because then you're not shelving it and you're not putting it somewhere in your mind that you have to go and collect it later. And now it's okay, that's out. And it's now not a thought ghost is what I call it. It's not a thought ghost that's now creeping around your mind space talking about, hey, remember me? I'm still here and you didn't do it. And hey, remember me? And we talked about this like how many days ago? And yes, I'm still here, right? So it totally ends up being like this haunted space of thoughts that I've never dealt with, or I'm like now feeling petrified to deal with because they've kind of like piled up on each other. And now this little ghost is like this legion of ghosts, right?
Yeah, yeah, you're so right. And this is one technique actually that I adopted. Instead of writing a to-do list, I don't have a to-do list anymore.
Me either.
I have a results driven list, or yeah, not even a list. It's a um, just a placeholder. Let me put it this way. However, with that said, what you just mentioned, we do have so many thoughts. Oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to do that. So I have a dump list. So I have a dump list where everything that comes to mind, even has nothing to do with what I wanted to do today, but maybe later, or just something came up. I write everything down. And sometimes I do this during the day, but oftentimes in the morning when I got my day started, or the evening before. So I have my dump list. And then I go through my dump list and really thinking, is this necessary? Or can I combine this? And then I go to my placeholder, my results placeholder. And what I put on there is, what results do I want to get today? And then I have one result on there. So, for example, I like my business. My result today is to record one module for my course. Okay? Recording. Boom. Now I can go to my dump list, because it was like on my mind, and then I said, oh, that's right. I have to set up my equipment because I broke it down. I have to finalize my my words. I have to finalize what I want to say, goes in there. So then I have a couple of things that goes for my result, has something to do with my results. And then I determine, okay, how much time do I want to give that? So now I have a couple action steps that leads to my results. And I know exactly how much time I want to give it. So now I know, in order for me to do this, I altogether gave myself 2 hours time. That's when I set my alarm, and boom, in 2 hours, I have my results. That's how you can be productive. And guess what? I might only have 2, 3, or 4 results that I want to have during the day. So instead of a long laundry list of to-dos that is overwhelming and it's not fun, I have my results placeholder. And then I said, yeah, oh, great, I got that. And then celebrate your result. I got it done. Celebrate.
Yes.
So
the celebration is actually super important.
Yeah.
Because people don't realize how much it actually seals in the moment and allows you to progress forward. Because if you don't celebrate, then it becomes a task-oriented list, right? It's not a list of rewards and accomplishments. It's a list of tasks, of like things I got to get done, all because you didn't take the moment to go, we did that.
Right.
Right.
And
like
the celebration doesn't have to be huge. It can be you get up, you maybe do like a happy dance, you pet your dog, or you go for a little swim if you live where I live, which is hot, and I jump into the pool real quick, and then, okay, now I can go on. So just something, even if it's just stretching, and do like a little, yes, you did good, Sabine, or you did great. And then go to the next, stretching, and then the next. So whatever it is, but acknowledgement is everything.
For sure. And I want to give everyone a tool on mastering your heart when it comes to trying to figure out this space. So, if you're trying to figure out, it's one thing to have a list and looking at where you want to go and what your results are, but if you're trying to sit in that space and going, I don't even know where to start, like if it really just starts to feel like this list could go on forever because I just feel like I haven't done anything, right? Like that is not the space you want to create results in. So I want to help you in being able to go ahead and draft this beautiful vision for yourself, and what Sabine is highlighting, just the beauty of that space, like what I just wrote in chat, which is creating a garden in your mind of these beautiful floral elements of what you're looking to experience and smell and walk through, right? So when it comes to that and really looking at that space, it's looking at, first thing, where am I now? Right? It's really taking the purge of where I am now. Because right now it may seem, to create that list, it could feel overwhelming to go ahead and just write all of this stuff and go, oh my gosh, where do I start? What do I do? And set that aside for the moment and start with, where am I now? Come to the 5 elements of who you are: heart, mind, body, soul, spirit, right? With the heart space, where am I now? What is it that I feel at the moment? What are my feelings? When it comes to the mind space, what is it that I know right now? What is it that I have come to know? When it comes to your spiritual space, what is it that I've come enlightened to? What am I enlightened to? What is it that I know now that a year from now or a year before I didn't know? What is it that I didn't know last year that I'm enlightened to now? When it comes to your body, what is it that I'm physically experiencing right now? What is this experience? And then lastly, now, what is it that I'm sacrificing currently? What am I sacrificing in this moment? Jot those things down. The reason why I go to these 5 elements is because they are the 5 pillars of who you are. I call it mastering me. That's the tool that I use. Mastering me. Walking through these 5 elements of who I am and asking those very clear visual, auditorial, and kinesthetic questions as to what is going on with me. Then I want you to go from where you are now to where you want to be. And I want you to take the same walkthrough within the same 5 elements. When it comes to how you feel, what is it you want to feel? When it comes to what it is that your body is experiencing, what is it that you want to experience? When it comes to your mind and what you know, what is it that you want to know? When it comes to your spirit and what you've been enlightened to, what would you like to be enlightened to? And when it comes to your soul and what you're willing to sacrifice, what is it that you are going or willing to sacrifice versus what you're sacrificing now? Take that walkthrough, clear that within yourself, make that element of cleansing in that space. Then you'll be able to make this list like that. It won't be an issue, it won't be a struggle, you won't be battling within yourself. And then you'll be able to walk through that beautiful garden that Sabine was talking about, that you'll be able to celebrate in that space in such a beautiful and wonderful way.
That is so good. I was just looking here on Facebook if there are any questions, and I couldn't write down so quickly, so you might want to put it in the chat there. But it is a beautiful way to get started. Anything that you can do to get into your heart space, and then you're taking action. And sometimes even before you do something very very normal, like everyday tasks, going through that process is good. Just kind of taking a deep breath and kind of checking in. That's basically what it is. You're checking in with yourself. Yes. Because when we act from a place of feeling good, let me put it as an all over experience, we are more productive. We excuse me. We are just also better with interacting with others.
Yes.
You know, and that's a very, very important element to always remember. If I feel good, if I am working and acting from a place that from my heart space, I am a better communicator. And that's what life is all about. You have to be a good communicator in your family, in your personal life, and in your business life.
Yes. And it's such a beautiful space of really just being able to see yourself in fullness. Like sometimes we're just so afraid to actually get there and be there and see the clarity of our own eyes and our own vision. But it's a beautiful space. And in being in that beautiful space, you're able to create beautiful things and beautiful results and beautiful products, like what you were speaking of earlier, in being able to move out in your gift and your craft and using this space of this lockdown space to go ahead and develop that craft, to allow that craft to be released. And I think that's why we've had the ebb and flow this morning of speaking about your gifts, your talents, the ways in which you can release those gifts and talents, visiting your heart and understanding what's within you, knowing your purpose or gaining vision towards your purpose, being able to purge your mind in jotting down your own future garden, and really looking at ways of mastering yourself, that all of that space is still a space that lives and has the foundation of imperfection. It is not about perfection. Nothing
Absolutely.
that we spoke about today is about perfection. None of it. Living as a human is about imperfection. It's a space of growth. It's a space of beauty. It's a space of playfulness and joy and fun. And trust me, the more imperfect, the better, because then it allows us to relate to one another. It's about tripping up on your own feet and being able to laugh about it. It's about being able to say confusion is funny.
Yes. And talking about growth, if any of the viewers here want to really find out, okay, what is my talent? How can I actually use it? I am right now doing a free training series on exactly that. How you can take your gifts, your talents, your knowledge, your wisdom, and actually put it into a format that you then can offer to others.
Mhm.
And you can offer it for free, or you can offer it for sale if you're looking for a new outlet of getting a stream of income. So if you are interested, I'm going to put the link below. You can just register there, then you will get notified. And it's interactive actually. So it's going to be a Zoom training. It's being recorded. So if you cannot make it, it depends on which part of the world you are in. You can always get the replay as well.
And the beautiful thing about what Sabine is offering is that in that space, it's a group of people who are very much looking to grow together, right? So it's not about you stepping into that space and going, oh my gosh, okay, here I am trying to learn this thing and trying to figure this space out. And how do I take this, take it home and work in it in a silo and try to figure it out? No, the beautiful garden that Sabine has created is one in which you are coming together like a classroom format, where you're literally learning from the other person's either setbacks or insights or highlights. Like you're growing together. It's like saying, oh, the other day I tripped on a cord. You guys should be mindful of the cord on the right hand side of the hallway. Just, make sure that you hop over that. Got it. So now everyone knows, watch the cord, right? But then it's also saying, did you guys know the pool was open on the left hand side of the courtyard? Like the water is heated, it's perfect temperature. And now everyone's going, we didn't know. That's cool. Let's all go to the pool. It's the same kind of flow where there's information shared and information given to help you grow, to help you get over major hurdles, to help you avoid major hurdles, and to be able to understand your space in a clearer, more functional, and easier way. It's a condensed way of learning a whole lot of information in a beautiful space and in a beautiful way.
Yes, yes, very much.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I just quickly wanted to highlight that to you guys. And if any of you ladies out there are interested in really coming to a space of some feminine energy restoration in healing the heart and being able to really just come to a knowing of yourself, a self mastery of yourself, and flowing in some fun and some play and some creative spaces. I ask you to go ahead and join us over at the virtual retreat that I have starting in November, the second Friday of November. Bound to be a fun time. So Friday nights, it's actually like happy hour sessions that we will have together, where we will grow together and speak of who we are as women and connect in that space. And I have some goody shares in that space. And then on Saturday mornings, we will come together in a retreat. And in that retreat is where we will start to share about some intimate subjects of really growing in feminine strength and feminine power and coming together as women. So it is still the same like classroom format where you're learning from one another. And I am absolutely sharing everything that I have learned over my years of experiences and some of that wisdom that I was sharing earlier of how I've learned things over time. And a lot of it has come into huge insight during this lockdown that I'm going to actually really start to share in this space in more depth so that it's you have the power to also own that space as well and grow from that space for yourself. The other good part is that everyone will actually receive a goody sacred spa kit. It's such a beautiful setup. Like, I love this spa kit because the provider that I'm working with actually designed the kit for me. And all the elements that are inside of this kit will last for the entire session of the virtual retreats. So it's actually a 5 week course. It's every Friday and Saturday for 5 weeks, the half day on Friday, the half day on Saturday, for which Friday nights we always end with everyone going off into a beautiful sacred bath, for which all of the ingredients for that bath will be within the sacred box. It's such a beautiful kit.
That is sounds so amazing, Patricia. Wow. I'm sure that the ladies there will come out after this 5 weeks so blossoming with joy and peace and love for themselves and for others. Fantastic.
Indeed, indeed. And the union of women coming together, especially driven, powerful, insightful women, like you can't beat that. You totally can't beat that. And the fact that we all come out of that space in more of a receiving nature, because driven women, let's admit it, we have a little problem receiving from people.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful space. I'm super stoked about it. I'm probably more excited about the fun side because of just all the little things that are going on in that space and in the creativity. But it is bound to be a space of restoration as well. Thank you guys for joining us. We went over 2 minutes. I apologize for that. Love you lots for hanging in there. Sabine, thank you so very much for joining us this morning. Self Mastery Fridays. I hope you guys are loving it because I certainly am. I feel like we're just getting deeper and deeper into love and connection. So thank you for being here, guys. Until the next time, take care of you. Bye for now. All right.
All right.
Woo!
Wow, we
That was
did it.
good.
It went
We
fast.
did.
Yes.
I can't believe it. Like 2 minutes over. But that was good.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
hoping for more questions from everyone, but
Yeah, I was looking.
at least they were talking.
Right, right. 33 views, one share. There you go.
That's awesome.
And let me put in our chat box the link so you can post it on. Oops.
Yes.
Yeah, let me see. Where is my? Here we go. Free training. Where is you? Here we go.
Where is it? Oh, there it is.
How does your day look like today?
It's another day full of meetings. I want to make sure I type your it's tagging you. Perfect.
Oh, good.
Perfect. So you're tagged to the video.
Okay, perfect.
Um, yeah, it's another day of like nothing but like back to back meetings.
Yeah.
It starts at 11.
Hmm.
So I have from now until that time to catch up on whatever emails came in last night.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And we ended at 9 last night. We've been
Oh,
ending at 9 p.m. It starts at 11 and ends at 9 p.m.
so it's like different meetings that you have?
It's this one continuous meeting
Oh,
because we're they're demoing systems to us and we are reviewing all the elements of the system to see if it's actually appropriate for our business.
yeah.
So each company is coming in and showing everything
Oh,
of
wow.
like what they do. Yes. So it's like it's major download, but at the same time, we have to be very alert because you want to make sure you catch all the key things and you want to make sure you highlight what you don't think is going to work. Because at 8:30 p.m. is when we actually then speak to our executive VPs, like our EVPs, to let them know what our breakdown is. Like
Mm.
what we liked, what we don't like, what we think will work. So everything we're saying right now is driving like the future of the business. So it's yeah,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah.
I hear you.
It's quite a bit.
Yeah. So next Friday, what are we doing for next Friday?
I said it in the video, but because it was your recording, I think it went to you. It didn't come to me because it was your meeting last week when I recorded it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yes. Okay. So,
So
but yeah,
I
I'll
said it
look it
in
up.
there, but I don't remember what I said
Okay.
because my
I
mind was all over the place.
yes, yes, I hear you. I
Yeah.
know. It's it's to keep it channeled one step at a
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you have already signups for your women retreat?
I have one sign up. My problem
Mhm.
is that I haven't taken the time to fully market it. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
So that's what I'm planning to. I have a meeting with a marketing guru tomorrow morning,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna really have him give me the quick and dirty of, all right, what do I do in like this final week plug? Because it's not a lot of seats to fill. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just getting it out there, getting whatever seats filled, and
How
then
many seats do you have?
15.
So you're doing it on the marketplace?
I'm actually going to end up recording it on Zoom because I don't
Mm-hmm.
like their setup at all. Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't like their system setup at all. And then I figured um, Travis created a new coaching tool. Travis, who created Kajabi, he
Oh,
created
okay.
a new coaching tool.
Yes.
So he hasn't released it yet. So I figured I'm going to record everything, save it, wait till he releases the new coaching tool, and
Good.
then load it onto that.
So did you start the free trial?
I didn't. You think I should?
Yeah, I would, because then that way you have it's free for 28 days and you can upload it there because that's what I'm doing right now is I'm uploading take I have everything on the marketplace, but I am going to stop the accelerator club. It's yeah, it's not going anywhere, and it's just the people that need it are the ones that are still kind of looking for everything. And so I'm
Who
going to
still
take
don't know what they're doing.
yeah, so I'm taking everything off, so I'm putting it on my Kajabi and I have to upload everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm sending you in Messenger the link,
Okay.
my Kajabi link.
Okay.
So that gives you 28 days. So it
Okay.
gives you 2 more weeks than if you would just, do it directly through Kajabi. Plus, you're also, you know, you're also because I will be basically the one that referred you. So I will get a referral bonus from Kajabi, and when you start utilizing it, and then maybe share it with your tribe later on, or with some of your eco merger ladies, and they wanted to do that, the same thing there. So you can share your link because we all have that ability, and that can offset some of your monthly costs. So, which is nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
So
right.
I will definitely do that then.
And let me know if you have a questions. Everything is pretty much explained via video. But the most important part is upload of your course. Now you have 2 weeks time. There is actually also, talking about marketing, there is a whole marketing funnel, so to speak. Yeah. So you can actually have upload some free training, and that's your lead magnet, and people opt in, and then you give them some training. The other thing, what you can do with your course, you can set it up, and then the emails are kind of pre-written. You just have to fill in your information, and you can set everything up once. So you may have to, especially at the beginning, may have to take a whole day time to set it up, but then it's all automatic. And that's what I
Okay.
like about it.
Okay. I will definitely look at that for sure. And
All
thank
right, my
you.
dear. Well, you have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.